Yes, moving on from heartbreak is incredibly excruciating, but we owe it to ourselves and our future special someone. Hello, my name is Yuri. Today I'm sharing my own personal heartbreak story with you from my own real life, no gimmicks, and I also want to share an idea with you. So watch the entire video because you don't want to miss anything. So I met this girl online on a dating app. It seems to be like a common theme nowadays, right? You may be thinking, man, dating apps, that's what it is, dating apps. Anyway, I met her on a dating app. We were talking. Truth be told, our first few dates, I didn't think much of her. I didn't actually think that we're going to date. Yet we did. We continued talking, we continued to meet, and we decided eventually that we're going to be boyfriend and girlfriend. Little did I know, let me not get ahead of myself. So everything was fine in the beginning. You know, I continued, she was living actually a couple hours away from me, so I continued to drive back and forth to see her. Occasionally she would come to see me. And actually, a couple months into our relationship, we took a trip to a different city, had a great time together. Everything was going pretty good. One day when we were together, she received a text message on her phone. And the text message read, "I'm thinking of you." And naturally I said, "Who is that?" And she said, "Oh, it's my boss." I'm not sure why he said that. So she was calling him, or maybe she pretended she was calling him. After she got off the phone with him, she said, "Oh, he meant to say, I'm thanking you." Thanking you? What do you mean? "Oh yeah, because I did some extra work for him and he wanted to thank me." And right in there I thought, okay, thinking of you and thanking you, that does not make much sense, right? Autocorrect usually don't correct thinking to thanking. It's usually different words because that's what she said. She said it was autocorrect. And so right away, that was a big red flag. That later that evening, some other text messages came through. She had enough nerve to leave her phone on my kitchen counter, you know, and I don't know what kind of tactic it was on her. And maybe she just thought if she left the phone on the counter, it would make me feel like she trusts me. Long story short, another text message came through, and it was beginning of an iceberg. Beginning of the iceberg. It was the tip of the iceberg. A sequence of those events sparked an unsettling feeling of concern. So I thought to myself, something is clearly wrong here. Something just doesn't add up. After a couple of weeks, you know, I did go through her phone, you know, I'll be completely honest here, because I was paranoid, and I found out a lot of different things about her. Um, and truth be told, I never felt that way before. I never felt so much anxiety, so much stress in my life previously. And it was the first time really when I experienced some sort of pain, you know, like physical pain, because I had like that one night when I found a bunch of texts on her phone. That night, one night, I've really experienced the physical pain and maybe even panic attack that I've never ever had in my life. You know, that made me feel the physical implication, not only mental and emotional, but physical implication of someone who is unfaithful and who is lying. And that really put things into different perspective for me. So at that point, my logical mind knew that it was over. There was absolutely no way to recover from that circumstance. And even though my logical mind knew it, my emotional mind would not come to terms with that. And I have never experienced it in my life. I mean, prior to that point, like I said, it was, I wouldn't say relatively easy, but I was able to cope with different situations when it came to relationships. At that time, I was not. I could not move on. And that caught me off guard. That put me in a funk. That put me in a space where I kind of lost control. I was no longer able to think logically because my emotions continued to get in the way, and I did not think it was possible, you know? My emotional mind continued to come up with possibilities. It continued to ask questions. Well, what if she is telling the truth? What if these things are not what they seem? What if she really cares about me? Because at that time she continues talking with me. She continues acting like I was important to her and that she wanted to be with me. Even though I knew I had to move on, I had a very difficult time moving on. That made me realize that with love comes happiness, companionship, and trust. But also with love comes an attachment. And once the love is over, the relationship is over, attachment sometimes persists. It remains there. And when that happens, you feel very vulnerable and you feel heartbroken. Unfortunately, all of these emotions equate to pain. Pain that is very difficult to overcome. So if you ever felt like that, or if you want to learn more about it, continue watching this video. It becomes our responsibility to make an open wound into a closed scar. And I realized that. Because I was still talking with her, I continued to allow open wound to remain there. I realized that I needed to stop all communication with her and that I needed to heal. And so that was my first step. I cut out all the communication with her. I blocked her. I deleted her pictures from my phone. I took away items in my house that reminded me of her, something that maybe she gave me as a present or we purchased together. You know, realizing that this whole thing is going to suck, the recovery is going to take time, was sort of liberating in a way, because I was no longer, trying to fight it. I told myself, okay, it's going to be difficult, okay, I'm going to take one day at a time and I'm going to work through it. I'm not going to rush this process. And I revert back to my support, my friends and family. My mom knew exactly what I was going through at the time. I told her everything, and my mom gave me some very valuable piece of advice. So if you have someone you trust in your life, preferably family members who will not betray you, then they could be your support system. But I would also be mindful to share information with them as confidants, but not to overwhelm them with emotions as well, because they can be there to try to help you, but their mental health and emotional stability also matters. There is no shame in seeking additional support if needed. I felt like if I was not able to get through it on my own, I was going to seek therapist help if it was necessary. And look, I'm a Russian man. I take pride in being strong and being mentally tough. But look, life is going to whoop your ass no matter who you are and where you're from. It's not going to discriminate based on your nationality. It's going to put you through difficult situation, through adversity, and let you deal with it. So there is no shame asking for help if you absolutely have to have help. Once I realized that my ex-girlfriend did not give a damn about me, it made it a little bit easier to move on, because it brought me back to earth and it put me back in a space where I knew that her intentions were not pure and she did not care about me. And therefore, why would I waste my nerves, my precious emotional energy for someone who never were there for me in the first place? There is a really good chance that the person who broke your heart does not deserve you. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be that way 100% of the time. Sometimes we mess up. Sometimes we're the ones who make mistakes. But a lot of times, if someone else broke our heart, chances are they've made a big mistake. They did not recognize what they had in front of them. I believe that there is another person out there in the world for everyone who's going to understand you, who's going to love you, and who's going to be there for you no matter what. You know, a true love You choose to believe what you believe, and that's what I choose. And therefore, people who are on our path, who hurt us or who break our heart, they are not to be concerned with. They are not the ones to be given time to, because they are just a stepping stone to a person who's going to truly value and love us. And it might sound weird to say a stepping stone, but I believe it's true, because this experience is supposed to make us more kind, more compassionate, more loving, more understanding. It's supposed to show us what not to do. It's supposed to give us a lesson that we can apply to the future to be a better version of ourselves, so we can love and we can embrace someone who truly deserves us in the future. I want to thank every single one of you for watching my videos, for engaging with me via your comments, for sharing your stories. And I wanted to find out if you would be interested doing this live. You see, YouTube has this feature for live streams. So creators can actually go live, connect with their community in real time, and have a conversation based on a specific topic of discussion, Q&A session, or simply a casual conversation. Please leave me a comment below. And in your comment, tell me if you would be interested in connecting with me during one of those live sessions. No matter who you are or where you are in the world, I hope that you don't have any heartbreaks in your loving relationship. If you do, I hope that you do find a little extra strength with this video to help you to overcome it and to emerge as a true you, renewed, replenished, full of hope, full of love, and full of optimism going forward. We did a lot of things together. The limiting factor, yet we continued to talk, and somehow it evolved into a relationship. Somehow our conversations evolved into connection. No. So eventually when we started dating, I got to know her in a different way. I really So we continued talking and went to see some shows. So everything was great. Everything was going great. And then one day I saw a text message coming through her phone, and I knew that this person, and one day I saw a text message coming through her. You know, I always heard about these stories from someone else in the past. Be careful, make sure nobody breaks your heart. Be careful, guard your heart, because people are heartless. Too many hard words in this equation, right? Somehow we continued talking, and over time we liked each other a little bit more, or at least I thought we did. And that pain is excruciating. And that pain is excruciating. It is difficult to overcome. My mom did a lot for me at the time. I shared that with, I shared this. She knew what was going on at the time. Life will kick your ass no matter who you are. It's not going to, it does not discriminate. There is someone else out there who's going to appreciate you for who you are, and who's going to go an extra mile for you. I want to thank every single one of you for being engaging